Hello everybody, this is Melting Explodes Bloodily here, and welcome to a different type of video. So, typically, I play fighting games, I play video games, I do a lot of weird shit on this channel, but I don't typically talk about my opinions on a lot of things. I tend to stay pretty neutral. But I want to make some tier lists, because I haven't done it yet. So, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to make a tier list for all the fighting games that I play, my opinions, of course, and try to get through them, explain them as best as I can in the short amount of time that I have. Or not that I have, but the short amount of time that I want to give every game. I want to give each game its own spotlight. So the games that we have lined up, I'm going to do Guilty Gear Strive because it's new, and I've been playing a lot of it. Then Skullgirls, then we have Dragon Ball FighterZ, Street Fighter V, and BlazBlue Central Fiction. So I hope you guys are excited for that. That's going to be sweet. But for now, Guilty Gear Strive because it's hot on the internet, and I've been playing a lot of it recently. So if you like what you see, remember, like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to talk to you about, or I'd love to talk about the tier list in the comments with you guys, because I like hearing different opinions. And that's another thing I want to point out. This is a tier list, this is my opinion on how good characters are in the game. However, I feel as though a lot of times people will disagree and kind of just be assholes about it when it comes to tier lists. So, again, to reiterate, this is my opinion from my experiences and my personal playthroughs of the game. This doesn't apply to everybody, it's just me. This is my opinions on the game. So, if you don't agree, discuss it with me in the comments. I'd love to get back to you guys and see what you guys are thinking. But, for now, just don't be an asshole. That out of the way, let's start the tier list. And first and foremost, we're going to get rid of the D tier. Whoever made this tier list, a D tier is unnecessary in modern fighting games, but that's a personal thought that I have. But in most modern fighting games, there aren't really characters that I would consider D tier anymore. There aren't awful characters. Like, D tier is, like, really bad but playable. There's not really a bad but playable anymore. Now every character is there's pretty much just great characters and then good characters. So, we'll have C tier be the lowest tier, because there are a few characters that I think are mediocre in this game. But yeah, so without further ado, let's start the tier list. Starting with Soul Bad Guy. Soul is a problem character. Week 1, this is probably the most played character in the game online, and for good reason. Soul has ridiculous combo damage. He has very high pressure. With mid-health, he's decently hard to kill, depending on your character. He has very good pressure, he has very good buttons, a very strong dust combo and dust attack, and 2 very good ults. Soul doesn't have very many problems. Which is kind of an issue, because for an all-rounder, he's pretty much just Kai, but objectively better. Which brings us to our next point, Kai. Kai is A tier. Kai is going to go lower. He is not top of A tier by any stretch. Kai is a very mediocre character. But he's not bad, in no way, shape, or form. You misconstrue that. Kai isn't bad, Soul's just better. Everything that I just said about Soul, minus that by 1, and you get Kai. He's got a pretty good projectile, a pretty good DP, pretty good buttons, a pretty good dust attack, and okay mix-ups. He's just mediocre Soul. That's pretty much all he is. Soul with, I guess I would say, like, a better projectile, because he has a really good anti-projectile. He's very good against, like, Ram. But Kai, in a lot of circumstances, is just worse Soul. Mei is another problem character. Mei is a low health character with incredibly high damage, very akin to a character like Chip. But Chip doesn't do a lot of damage. Chip has mix-up. Mei, what she lacks in conventional mix-up, she makes up for in having a command grab and having the second highest damage output of any character in the game. The first being Nagoriyuki, like optimal combos, or Potemkin, or like Soul. It's like the top 5 damage dealers are those characters, so, they hurt. Mei she has very low risk buttons. She has very good buttons, very long range. She doesn't have a lot of punishable stuff in her kit. She has very good special moves. She has a projectile, which does not fit her game plan, but is a very good projectile nonetheless, because it covers a upwards diagonal angle and goes down, which is a very weird angle for a lot of characters to deal with, because you can't clash her projectile very easily. She also has a command grab that's comboable in the corner. In the corner, her command grab is scarier than a Potemkin Buster. Mei hurts, but she does not have the lowest health in the game. She has a low health. her damage, her pressure, and her mix-up are terrifying, but she has the downside, when it comes to Soul at least, and the reason she's not better than Soul, you can kill a Mei pretty easily because she has low health. Soul has mid health. Mei has low health. So, Axel Low, the next character on this tier list. Axel is a low A tier character. Axel's good. Axel is a character that does not get much play, but Axel's pretty strong. He has decent pressure. He has very strong buttons. He suffers from the same issue that a lot of characters in Archetype suffer from, which is he doesn't really have a way to get people off of him, but he does have a lot of ways to keep people out. He's like a better Dhalsim, is what I'd classify Axel as. His time stop ultimate is more of a gimmick than anything. It's not practically useful. It's pretty much just a Roman cancel that you can time, like during combos. It's a Roman cancel that has an input that isn't just press 4 buttons, because it functions pretty much the exact same as a Roman cancel. Not great. His other ult is pretty good though. And he has an airborne DP that's not bad. His combo damage is okay. But generally, Axel's damage is quite low, but his buttons are immaculate. So, he's a pretty good character. Next up, Chip. Chip is better than Axel. Chip is the lowest health character in the game, by a long shot. Chip hurts. He doesn't do crazy damage, but he does get a lot of hits and a lot of resets. And the scary thing about that is, the more hits and resets he gets, that gives him positive bonus, and you do not want to fight a Chip that can Roman cancel, because Chip with Roman cancels has terrifying mix-ups. He has particularly strange matchups. His matchup against Zato is one of the strangest game plans. He has to change his gameplay a lot, it's a bit strange, but Chip's game plan is pretty much cross up your opponent, push a mix-up, get them in the corner, and kill them before they can kill you because of your low health. Because he will die in 3 Potemkin command grabs, or 3 counter hits from Mei, or 2 counter hits from Soul. She will die, or he will die. But he does a lot of damage. He has a very good DP. He has a very good command grab. He has very good special moves, and he has very good mobility. His downside is solely his health. If his health was like Soul's, like mid health, he would be an S tier character, hands down. Potemkin. Potemkin was a problem child in beta. He got nerfed, the nerfs got reverted, and now that people have gotten to play the game a little bit more, Potemkin is... This is probably the best iteration of Potemkin in Guilty Gear. This is the strongest he's ever been because it's a game that's more based on ground-based movement than aerial movement. And Potemkin thrives from having his opponents have to play his space. He has bad matchups, but he is Potemkin. He can kill you in 3 hits. He is A tier solely because he has very high health, and he can kill you in 3 hits. And his mobility is actually not bad, because Hammerfall is shockingly good in this game. Potemkin benefits a lot from the changes in Strive. His game plan didn't change much. He plays the exact same way that he played in previous games. He didn't lose anything, and all he did was gain new tools, which is great. Faust. Faust is a B tier character. So now we're getting into a few characters that are considerably weaker than others. Faust is... The closest thing I'll say to Faust being bad is that he is unreliable. So, Arc loves this archetype of random unpredictable characters with a very simple B&B that changes depending on which random tool they get. Captain Ginyu from Dragon Ball FighterZ, Teddy from Persona 4 Arena, Faust, obviously, from Guilty Gear. This has always been his archetype. It doesn't work as well in Strive, because the random tools more often than not benefit the opponent, but if Faust gets a train rolling and gets a 100-ton weight off of a knockdown in the corner, you lose. You just lost. He's held back by his randomness. Faust's base kit is okay. He has okay buttons with actually pretty good damage, but randomness holds back any character because he is not reliably good. A lot of his special, or not a lot of them, his What's in Here special move is either one of the best or one of the worst things. He also doesn't have great approach tools. He has very good keep away, which is kind of his game plan because he doesn't really want to approach the opponent. He doesn't want the opponent to get close to him. Because the Scarecrow mix-up is terrible. It's really bad because it's very slow and punishable on block, and it's very easy to see which clone he is. So, Faust is a good character held back by randomness. Milia. Milia is the top of B tier. Milia does very low damage, but she's like Chip, with less damage, pretty much, and setup. She has very strong setup, and very good mobility. Milia just doesn't hurt. You don't really have to be scared of getting mixed up by a Milia, because her optimal combos are just not terrifying. It's like, you get hit by like a Soul, you instant burst because you don't want to eat 300 damage off of one hit, or like a Nagoriyuki. You burst because you don't want to eat like 170 damage off of a light punch. Milia can't do that. She deals very low damage, but she gets a lot of hits. It's like, as I said, Chip with less payoff. Her projectile is very good. The spin hair projectile, I don't know the name of it, so excuse me, is not... It's terrifying. It's not something to sleep on. She is a nuisance to fight. She has mid-health, so she's not hard to kill, and she has very low-range buttons, so a lot of characters outclass her solely due to range and damage, but she's not a bad character. As I said, she is... Just realized, Axel's probably the worst A tier character, but yeah, Milia is a okay character. She is a fair character. That is the best way to describe Milia. Milia is honest. She has grimy setups, but for the most part, her game plan is quite honest. Next up, Zato. Zato is a problem character. I would argue he's better than Potemkin and Axel, but I don't think he's better than Chip and Kai. He might be better than Chip, that's up to debate, but for me personally, and me playing the game, Zato is a nuisance. Fighting a Zato as... to preface this, I should have said which characters I play in this game. I play Potemkin, I play Nagoriyuki, I play Leo Whitefang, and I play Mei. Nagoriyuki and Potemkin have a lot of the same weaknesses because of their mobility is very similar. This matchup is fucking abhorrent for Potemkin and Nagoriyuki. It is rough. It is a very rough matchup. Because Zato's keep away, his pressure, and his mix-ups are fucking annoying. And that is the big issue with Zato. He is a nuisance of a character. He is a pesky character. Him and Chip are probably the most pesky characters to fight in this game. Because a lot of their mix-ups are low effort and high reward. Especially Zato, he gets a single hit on you. You're taking like 170 damage if he used the right special move after he got the hit. Because a lot of his pressure moves on hit can lead to combos or a knockdown for pressure. And his mobility is pretty good. Like, Zato is a solidly good character. Ramlethal. Ramlethal is a problem right now. She is the top of A tier. She is not... I wouldn't say she's in the... Or actually, no. She's low S tier. She's up here. She is a problem. Ramlethal, I've said it before, has a very balanced kit. The only issue with Ramlethal, the biggest issue, the only reason she's in S tier, is because two simple things. She has very strong corner carry with her Rekka and her sword toss, and her combos in the corner would insta-wall splat and lead to a screen break, which is terrifying because that means you're taking like 190 damage off of one hit that fully brought you to the corner. She is a menace. But she does get stuffed pretty hard. She needs ult to wake up because she doesn't have a DP. So characters like Mei and Sol obviously can run a train on her. They can devour Ramlethal players not prepared to deal with those characters. Same thing with Kai. Kai actually has a pretty good matchup with Ram. Again, she's kind of top tier because her range and her corner carry makes a lot of characters... It makes it hard to fight. For example, Faust is actually a very bad matchup for Ramlethal because Faust has an option for a poke. If Ramlethal whiffs a slash, he can do the scalpel poke and pull her close, and her up-close options get phenomenally worse because Rekka is unsafe. You do have to Roman cancel to keep Rekka safe. So she does have some bad matchups, but for the most part, she is a menace. Her damage is very high, and her corner carry is very high. Leo. Leo is underplayed, but good. We're going to put Leo in B tier. Leo is a very simple character. Leo is kind of in the category of gimmick fighter. Not in the same regard as Faust's entire game plan is a gimmick. He's a stance switch character, with Brynhildr stance. Brynhildr's Stance gives him access to mix-ups, a command grab, and a parry. Otherwise, his kit is a projectile, or a charge projectile, a charge DP, a anti-air explosion, and 2 separate slashes, one that hits in front and one that hits behind. So he's got a pretty large kit. He's got very slow buttons. First issue with Leo. Very slow buttons. Very, very long range buttons. So they're slow it's like Faust. Very slow buttons for a reason. His heavy punches, very strong. They're comboable. They're long range. He does a lot of damage. But if you block correctly against a Leo, he just lost. He's kind of in the same regard as Milia, where you're kind of scared of getting hit until you realize a lot of his shit is interruptible, and then every time he goes for a cross-up slash, you can just punch him and get a counter hit combo, and the matchup immediately stops being scary, because what is he going to do? You can just keep interrupting him, and that's his primary tool. Brynhildr's Stance is very strong, but again, you get hit. The parry is probably the best part of Brynhildr's Stance, that and the command grab. It is a very good command grab, but it is very slow, it is very telegraphed, and it's a sprinting command grab, so he has to run towards you. You can jump over this and get a full combo if you're ready for the command grab, because his anti-airs in Brynhildr's Stance are not great. He is an unexplored character, he's underplayed, but I won't say that he's bad. Honestly, we're probably going to get rid of C tier. I don't see any characters being C tier. I don't think there are any characters in this game bad enough to merit being in C tier. This is kind of like a 3-tier game. Next up, Nagore Yuki. Nagore Yuki is at the middle of A tier, right behind Zato. Probably above Zato, actually, because it's kind of a similar thing. So Nagore Yuki does a lot of damage. His gimmick is that he has no forward dash, no air dash, no double jump. He only has a back dash and a command dash. His command dash, however, costs a resource known as Blood Gauge. If you get 3 bars of Blood Gauge, you go into Blood Frenzy, which rapidly drains your health, but makes all of your sword attacks do more damage. It also gives you access to his second ult, which is the Blood Bat, where he whacks you with his sword, and it does 200 damage and wall splats. You do not want to go into Blood Rage. It can win you games sometimes if your opponent, if they get hit by something, but a lot of the times you lose games because of Blood Rage. His high damage output and the fact that all of his special moves and most of his normals are cancelable by command dash makes him a terrifying character. Very strong rushdown, very good pressure. His biggest downside is in fact Blood Rage. He has high health. He's like the Temkin. He hurts to get in. He has to work a little hard to get in, but once he's in, he's in. He's running a train on you because he has a command grab. He has a DP super, which does a lot of damage. He has an anti-air that does 120 damage flat. And most of his normals are full combo punishes if you get hit by them. He has a very good, not Rekka, but target combo with his slash. Slash is a target combo. He pokes you with the sword, he does an upward slash, and then he does an overhead slash. The first 2 hits of that string are special cancelable, and if you don't do the 3rd hit, but don't do a special move, he'll raise the sword above his head and then stand still. During that raising the sword, you can do anything you want. You can command dash, you can do a special move, you can start the Rekka again, you can do a command grab. His command grab gives him health back and lowers his blood gauge. Nagore Yuki has a lot of tech. He is a very technical character, very fun character, and a good character. He's great. He's great. Giovanna is pretty bad. It sucks to hear that because Giovanna's a new character. Giovanna's game plan is boring. The best way to describe Giovanna is flowchart. She pretty much, if she hits her spin kick, her fucking spiral kick in neutral where she spins around her dog and flies towards you, she gets to get a pressure started. Her aerial kick to reset pressure is interruptible and susceptible to 6Ps. You can anti-air it very easily and get a full counter hit combo off of it. Her combo damage is quite good in the corner, but Giovanna is very interruptible because she depends on dashes a lot. You can get a lot of cheeky counter hits off of dashes. She is not a great character, but she is honest because she doesn't really have mix-ups. So she's pretty honest. She's just a rushdown character, and she has a passive, which is cool. Her and Nagore Yuki are like 2 of the only characters in the game with passives. The more meter you have, the more damage you deal, and the more health you have, which is a pretty cool mechanic, but obviously you have to spend meter to deal high damage. She does have pretty good supers, I will say. So there's that. She has that going for her. Anji Mito. Anji is probably down here. I hate to say this because Anji's new as far as gameplay is concerned. Anji is weak. And a lot of people aren't going to agree with me on that. But his optimal damage is parry super Roman cancel. That's 100 bars of meter to get his optimal started. And then without that, he's a Rekka character. If you guess his Rekka correctly, he either loses his turn or gets punished. His dodge is not nearly as good as people thought it was when he came out. His counter super is very good because it counters projectiles and normals and specials. It counters everything but other ults and command grabs and grabs. But Anji is underwhelming. He has a setup projectile that doesn't fit into his kit very well, and he is, I would say, in lower echelon of characters, he does decent damage, but he's not great. And finally, the big bitch of Guilty Gear, the main antagonist of this game, Ino. Ino is S tier. I do not care who you are. This is one of my unshakable opinions on this game. Ino is one of the most frustrating characters to fight. Incredibly high damage. She can punish a lot of things that other characters can't fight. One of the best anti-airs in the game. Some of the most smothering pressure of any character in the game. Very good special moves. A very out of place and aggravating command grab super that even if she whiffs spawns projectiles that make it safe on block. And very strong pressure. She does a little bit of everything. She has setup projectiles. She has the fucking screen clear, the little flip kick with the triangle hitbox, the you're muted attack. It does a decent amount of damage. It punishes a lot of things from a very far range. Ino is a menace, but she's one of the more balanced top tiers in this game. She's not incredibly annoying. You do fight a lot of them, but you gotta learn the matchup. So that's my over-explained Guilty Gear tier list. This is it, so we'll start it again. We'll just, talk about it. S tier. I believe the best character in the game is Soul Bad Guy. Right now, strongest character in the game, hands down. Right behind him is Mei. Mei is a problem. She does way too much damage for very little risk. Ino has very strong setups and very strong pressure at the cost of literally nothing to her, and if you get command grabbed by Ino, you just lost, because you were losing 300 HP. Ramlethal, very high damage, very good supers, very good quarter carry, high wall splat. A tier, Kai, worst soul. Chip, he's pretty much Millia, but better in every way. Millia with more movement and better mix-ups with less setup. Nagoriyuki, big beefy bruiser who struggles with mobility due to his blood gauge gimmick. Zato, a menace. I'm actually going to put Zato higher up because Zato is a menace. Zato actually belongs a bit higher up than previously reported because Zato is good. Zato's actually very good. He's borderline S tier, but he's pretty easy to kill because his defense is shit. Chip, high mix-up, high mobility, low health. Only thing holding him back is low health. Potemkin, very high damage, very high health, very low movement speed. He's very easy to stuff because his normals are decently low range except for his heavy. His heavies are very good, but they're very slow. He does high damage though. And the best worst character in A tier, Axel, has a useless super because time stop is just a Roman cancel. Has other supers okay. Low damage but very good keep away, decent special moves. And then B is like underused and unexplored characters. Like underutilized or we haven't seen enough of them yet. Leo is underused with a decent kit. Giovanna's game plan is very basic and easy to counter, but she does have decent damage. Millia does very little damage but has very good setup. Anji, I don't know what Anji's supposed to do. If it's rushdown, he doesn't do that very well. And Faust, sadly, Faust is the worst character in the game. He has the potential to be top of B tier or bottom of B tier because he's random. So, with all that, those are my thoughts. I think Guilty Gear Strive is a good game that suffers from poor balancing at this point. The top tiers in this game are not fun to fight. I will say that first and foremost. The top 5 characters on this list, I will say, the top 5 and Chip, for me, personally, are the least fun characters I've ever fought in a fighting game, or in a modern fighting game, in a very long time. Characters that have way too many options and too many answers to shit are just not fun to fight in a game where there's only, like, 12 characters. It's not very enjoyable to have your character get shut down completely, and this character, like Soul. Soul pretty much has a cure-all. His kit is a cure-all. It works against literally everybody. Soul doesn't really have bad matchups. It's a bit annoying. But Faust, somebody like Faust or Nagoriyuki or Milia, these characters have very bad matchups where they can't play the fucking game. Soul doesn't have any matchups where he's not allowed to play. But Axel has matchups where he's not allowed to play. Nagoriyuki has matchups where he's not allowed to play. Giovanna has matchups where she's not allowed to play. So, the top tiers aren't fun to fight. Chip, nerf his command grab. The fact that if he whiffs the command grab, he can instantly press a button is a little annoying. Other than that, these are my final thoughts on the Guilty Gear Strive. At least week 1. We'll see if, you know, like, when the season 1 rolls around, I'll update this tier list. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to make more tier lists, obviously. This is going to be some fun little videos to put out. I like talking to the community, and we'll try to get some edited content out. Now that we're finished with Indivisible, I can start some series again. Skullgirls Lore is probably going to be coming back, along with I might start doing more reviews on stuff and reactions. So look out for that. But yeah, anyways, if you like what you saw, remember to like, comment, subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. This is me, Azazel the Basement Dweller, and these are my thoughts on Guilty Gear Strive Week 1. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.